Welcome to Faith Speaks here on WICX 102.7 Alpha FM Catholic Radio and around town here on CCTV. I am your host, Dick Patten. It's a pleasure to have you join us today, and I hope everybody's out there trying to stay warm and trying to stay healthy from the flu, because evidently New Hampshire now is in the flu epidemic. But with me today is Gould, who is he is in charge, or he helps maintain the Hillsboro food pantry, pretty much.
The Hillsboro District Food Pantry.
Yes, yeah. And when you say district, are you talking about the towns of Hillsboro, Deering, and Henniker? Are you?
Yeah, Hillsboro and surrounding area.
Yeah.
A couple of the other towns in our area have their own food pantries.
Yeah.
So they don't come to us, but we do service the other towns in the area that don't have a food pantry.
Mm. So it's not like a St. Vincent de Paul like some of them have right here in Concord, but
no, we're open to anybody who has a need.
Do you find that you're getting more and more and more people coming in for food assistance, or has it leveled off now?
Well, actually, it has leveled off. It
has.
A few years ago, I remember we were servicing between 90 to 100 families a week.
Oh my gosh!
90 to 100 bags a week went out, and now it's down. I talked to Norma last night, and she says it's between 65 to 80.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, why do you think it's leveled off like that? Especially with winter, you think it would be even worse, but
yeah. Winter usually is the worst of the times, but I don't know. I really don't have a clue why it's leveled off like that. I mean, it's a good thing. I'm glad it has.
Oh yes, by all means. So
definitely, the need is still out there, though.
Oh, I'm sure it is, because now what do you put in a bag? I'm sure there's like potatoes maybe, or do you put canned items?
Well, it's different. We divide the bags up into 3 categories.
Okay.
We divide them up into A bags, B bags, and C bag.
Okay.
And A bag is for like 1 to 2 people, and it's usually, I think there's 5 canned goods, and then Norma is very good at getting meat items. Well, sometimes we'll have hamburgers, sometimes we'll have sausage, sometimes we'll have chicken or small chickens, and so they get the bag, and then they get a meat item, and then when you go through the counter, because we just do it all on the counter, and when you go through the counter, there's also other boxes there that you can pick and choose a couple more items to go in there. And A bag again has it's around 4 or 5, I can't remember. Because I haven't put a bag together in a while. I usually help out in the back. B bag has, I think it's between 7 to 8 items. B bag is for between 2 to 4 people, and our C bags are 4 or more if there's a larger family. And according to the size of the family, like a C bag, if you have a C bag, they'll get probably a little more on the meat items too.
Yeah.
Because they need a little more than some of the others.
Now, do you know, I assume that most of these people have electricity or gas to cook then.
Yeah.
They're not people that are living, God forbid, in tents this time of year. So
not that I'm aware of. I think most of them do have residents, yeah.
Okay, so you have like a winter shelter out there or something.
Some of them during the winter, I know there are some people who they get together with friends of theirs and they live in their place. But again, as far as the homeless, we do have homeless in Hillsboro, but it's not as big a problem as you'd see in Concord or Manchester maybe. But there are a few out there.
Well, when you say homeless, they would be living out in the woods this time of year, or living out near the lake or something of that stuff, would they?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, we actually have a parking lot near there, and sometimes you'll see cars parked in the. It's one of those things where you park your car and you
park and ride.
Park and ride, yeah.
Yeah.
And you'll see cars there overnight. And actually, just a while back in Emerald Lake, where I live, right next to the mailboxes there,
yeah,
there's an area, And in the mornings, I have to get up early in the mornings to take the dog for a walk before I go to work. And I'll go down around that area, and I was always seeing the same car there for a while. But I haven't seen him in a while. But I know he was sleeping there overnights.
Isn't that terrible?
Yeah, it is.
Especially when it's been, we have had, to me, now I know as a kid, we had some bad winters, and I mean bad. We had snow, and we had the cold weather. And I can remember my father would bring in the car batteries and keep them by the stove or something to keep them warm. Or he'd have to go out during the night twice or 3 times a night to start them up and let them run. You know, so the next morning they could go to work.
Yeah.
Because if not, they would have. We didn't have AAA or couldn't afford it or whatever. He'd have to get out the neighbors and see if he could get a jump start or a push. And you know, I'm sure for him it was very embarrassing because they had some neighbors you could always count on. But then others would stand in their window and laugh at you. You know, they're now idiots. You know, but you know, they were always giving. My folks were always giving, and it was just sad when they needed something to have that happen. But and then for some reason in the 80s and 90s, we didn't seem to have those temperatures anymore. They were cold, but not like it seemed to be in the 50s and 60s like we had. Or maybe even though, I mean, I wasn't born in the 40s, but still it was, you know, I was born in 52, but, you know, but still it was horrible. And I can't imagine adults and with kids to be sleeping in a tent somewhere. You know, oh, it just makes me sad.
Yeah, that's why we do at my church where I go to, we have a couple people who work with some of the homeless and homeless organizations. One right here in Concord, Rise Again Ministries.
Yeah. And
he told me that when it gets really, really cold like that, that they will go out and find these people and say, "Hey, come on, get to a shelter."
Yeah.
And there are some that still really won't do it.
No, oh no, they won't go in.
But
which is sad because my goodness, and especially kids. That's what bothers me. If the adults want to do that, fine and dandy.
Yeah.
But kids, you know, that's what bothers me. I just don't understand how they could have a kid stay out there all night. I mean, they have to have some kind of a wood fire, I would think.
Well, I'd say we've done again for the last few years. We've been working with the homeless organizations.
Yeah.
And my church in Hillsboro, one weekend a year, and we just did it about a month ago, we will spend out in boxes, and we create like a box city. Not to say that we know anything about being homeless or anything like that, but just to bring awareness of the homeless situation. And I've been out in those boxes when it's been like 10 below. And I'll tell you though, if you know how to do it, you can keep yourself warm. You just have to know how to do it. First year I almost froze my toes off though.
Well, I bet.
But,
I bet.
It's interesting though. Yeah, the situations that most of these people go through. But again, I'm glad to say that as far as the pantry goes, as far as I know, we don't have any homeless, you know, not that I know of, that I'm aware of.
How do you get donations from your pantry from people, or is there some places you can go to get bulk stuff for them to have? Or?
Well, we're really blessed because we have a lot of support from the community, and the local grocery store in town, they have a box out that they leave out all the time, and I go by there. Actually, somebody else doing it now because I just hurt my hand, so I'm having trouble lifting things. But we go by there once a week, and they have maybe 4 or 5 boxes filled with donations that their customers
good.
have given us.
Good.
So we have that, and we also have some of the organizations in town, like the Lions Club, and I'm trying to think of the others. The Legion, the Lions Club, and off the top of my head, I can't remember, but a few of the organizations
Yep.
make quarterly donations to the pantry. So we do have a little coming in, and it definitely helps. Now, as far as buying the food and stuff, we do that sometimes when supplies get low, and Normal usually does that.
Yeah.
And she used to go to the food bank, but I don't think she's going there much anymore. She knows where to purchase it, and usually at the stores she might get it for the specials they're running.
Yeah.
And she times it like that, so she's really organized that way.
Now, what about your meat? You said you have meat, you have chicken and all that. Where does that come from?
Yeah. Again, I wish Norma would come with me today, but
Oh, that's all right.
she didn't want to. She's the one who purchases all that, and I have no clue where that comes from. She gets it on specials.
Yeah.
And she buys in bulk, so she gets a better price on all that too.
That's good though.
But as far as donations, again, from organizations in town, and then we, once a year we do the fundraiser that I told you about, the Hillsboro Challenge.
Yeah. How did you get involved in this, Gene?
Oh, I love to help. I love to help people.
Yeah.
I just have a heart for trying to help, do what I can for people that are in situations that I pray to God I never end up in. Who knows? Nobody knows. There, but by the grace of God, go I. But I've always wanted to do things like that, and my wife has, for a few more years than me, she's been a member of the pantry.
Yeah.
And she's been going down there helping out. She started out helping on the back like I did, and then when she got to the point where she really couldn't lift too much anymore, then they put her up. There's a like a reception desk. When you first walk in, you have to check in every week.
Yeah.
So they check you off and put the date, and basically keep our records that way. So my wife does that, and a couple of years after she started going down there, I said, hey, why can't I come down with you? She said, well, yeah, sure, come on. So we both go down the same night. It's usually the last Tuesday of every month. We both go down, and I work in the back now, and she still works up in the front. And sometimes I help Norma in the front with the distribution of the bags and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's definitely, there's a lot involved to it, and I don't know if people realize it. There's a lot involved. So you're purchasing your food. When you get there, the food that is donated, sorting the food, from your vegetables to soups to other items that may not even be in those categories, fruits, vegetables. We sort them all out so that when the list gets put together, which again Norma does that, every week she puts together a list of what's going to go in the bags, and she keeps an inventory of what's in the pantry so that she can make those lists up. But every week the bags get put together for the following week so that they're ready to go Tuesday when we're there. And you have to break down the boxes as the food gets put into the things. We get all sorts of empty boxes of trash, so you break them down and take those to the dump. We're always taking and having to move the meat items from the freezer. We actually are fortunate enough to have a walk-in freezer.
Really?
When we built the pantry. That pantry is an interesting story. Do you have a minute?
Sure.
Tell you about it?
Sure.
Well, the pantry got started in, in 1989. And it was actually a small room, I guess, that they were operating off on West Main Street in Hillsboro.
Yeah.
A few years after that, there was a bank in town, Bank North, who had a building, and they were trying to sell it, but they were having no luck selling it. So they come to the pantry and they said, hey, if you guys want to move in here and use the building, you can use it until we sell it. And it's like, okay, that would be great. And it was a 2-story residential, colonial, and it was an old house. Actually had the horsehair plaster that they used to put on the walls.
Huh.
So the bank actually did not have very much luck in selling the building.
No.
So they, after a few years of letting us in there, they came to us and says, "Here, the building's yours." They donated it to us.
Oh, wow.
They gave it to the pantry, and we're thinking, "Wow, this is neat. We have our own place now."
Yeah.
And the property, it's a small piece of property, but still big enough for what we need. And we got to thinking, maybe we should try and build this place up a little bit and do some construction on it.
Sure.
Well, we had a gentleman who's a contractor who helped out with the pantry, and he looked at Norman and he says, "Why don't we just build a new building?" And it's like, really?
Wow.
He says, "If you guys can raise the money to build the building," he says, "I will coordinate with the other contractors in town, and I will donate my time, and I'm sure there's other guys in town that will do that." So we did. We got a group together. We raised $125,000 for the materials, and that was actually a cost too. Little of that was to get the old building out of there, demolition. But we raised that money, and the contractors built that in about I'm forgetting exactly how many months it took, but a few months later, we had a brand new building.
Wow.
Which is where we operate out of now. And it's a 2-story building as the old one was, and upstairs is the clothing closet. So it actually works for 2 ways. We have the pantry downstairs, clothing closet upstairs. And when they built it, the contractor had foresight, and he added a little area to the side where we could put a handicap lift elevator.
Yeah.
So we have a lift elevator in there too. And it's really a nice building.
Oh, sure.
But with all buildings, upkeep and, and most of the money we raise from the Hillsboro Challenge we don't use for upkeep, but we mainly use it for food and stuff. But occasionally there are things that we have to. The refrigerator, the walk-in refrigerator we have just recently broke down, so we had to have somebody come in and fix that, and other things like that, and electric bills and gas and things like that too.
When you say Bank North, that, if I remember right, that used to be the Bank of New Hampshire building, because Bank North bought out Bank of New Hampshire.
I think so, yeah.
Yes, because my wife works for the original Bank of New Hampshire. Then it went to Bank North, then it went to People's. Now it's TD Bank, it's called. And of course, Laconia citizens bought or somehow latched on to the Bank of New Hampshire name, and that's why people are so confused today, because they think, oh yeah, no, that's the old Laconia Citizens Bank. But it's just amazing that, in this day and age, that there are so many people out there who are hungry, or who don't have a hot meal or whatever a meal every day.
Yeah, it amazes me too. And I don't know the reasons, and I'm not trying to.
I don't know. I
don't try and judge anybody because I don't know their situations. We used to have a gentleman who came to the pantry, and he drove up in a Cadillac.
Good.
Now that was exactly the expression that people used to. Is they look at him like Cadillac, but if you knew the gentleman, he lived in a hovel, in a shack, on a piece of property.
Yeah.
And the Cadillac was the only thing he really owned that had any value. Okay, he was an elderly gentleman. He was on. I think he was getting Social Security, and that was what he was living on.
Yeah.
So he did not have much.
Where did he get the Cadillac from?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
It's odd.
It wasn't even the greatest. It was an older. Cadillac.
Older version. Yeah.
It wasn't brand new. It was older, and it got him around.
Oh yeah, sure.
But people would see that, and that's exactly what they think. So I try and go on the assumption. I haven't walked in anybody else's shoes.
No.
I don't know their situation. I know people who come to the pantry that work where I do.
Yeah.
They're working, but they're still And again, I don't know their life story. I don't know the situation.
I don't know. I'm telling you,
But
it's
I
you know,
just, I just like to again. I'm gonna help out as much as I can,
Yep.
and I think it's up to the man upstairs to sort out who is using and who's not.
Yep.
And I don't worry myself for that because I know he's always going to provide.
Exactly. I mean, it's on their conscience if they're taking advantage of something because.
That's true.
And it's funny because you mentioned that because over here at the windmill, every Thanksgiving they serve a full Thanksgiving day meal, free of charge to anybody who cannot afford a meal or who's alone or whatever. And the owner has told me many times that somebody will come in and try to pay for it, and or they can well afford to pay for a meal. But he said, no, it's free of charge today, and if they want to leave a donation, that's fine. But it's on their conscience that there are people there who cannot afford or who live alone and don't have that. So.
Yeah. But anyway, that's basically why I tried to get started with this fundraiser that I wanted to talk to you about today.
Sure.
And it originally started out, we started this back in 2012, I believe.
Okay.
And it was started out as, I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but there was a fundraiser called the Feinstein Challenge.
Oh.
Alan Sean Feinstein, who's a millionaire, put up $1 million of his own money every year, and in any organization that it was either a food pantry or a soup kitchen that fed people, any 501c3 organization could, during the months of March and April, hold a fundraiser. And then at the end of April, at the 30th of April, they had to put all their paperwork together, send it into the Feinstein organization. And then what the Feinstein organization did is they would total all that up. And this was a nationwide fundraiser. It was all over the place. But they would total all that up, and they would figure out what your percentage of the money's totals raised was.
Yeah.
And then they would cut you a check for your percentage out of that $1 million.
Wow.
And it wasn't really a lot, but it was a donation from. But the first year we did this, we raised just through the fundraising efforts of the pantry $9,693.
Wow. That's good.
And 6,000 of that, 6,500 was in money, 500 in pledges, and then the food items. For this challenge, they value the food items at like $1 per can, $1 per pound.
Yeah.
And we got donated that year 2,587 food items.
Huh.
And each year it's gone up from then. Only thing is that we did it 2012, 2013, and 2014. And actually in 2014 we did it in memory of Norma Hubbard's husband. Actually, the two of them worked together on the pantry, and he passed away.
Oh.
So in 2014 we did an honor in memory of David Hubbard.
Oh, yeah.
But then in 2015 it was canceled. The Feinstein organization decided they wanted to take their $1 million and put it elsewhere and do other work with it.
Oh, that's too bad.
So I got to thinking. I says, "Well, what can I do here? Come on,
Yeah,
I gotta be able to replace that with something." And I figured, why not call it the Hillsboro Challenge?
Yeah, that's good.
And just change it a little bit. And what I did was I went around to all of the businesses in the area, and I asked them if they would mind pledging $100, at least $100 or more, each business. And then what I do is I go to all of them, then I total up all the pledges, and that would be actually kind of my grant money.
Yeah.
That I replaced that from the $1 million. Now we had a couple thousand each year. But that money was not to be sent in until we reached a goal. I would set a goal. Last year's goal was 9,000, and if we at the pantry and everybody helping us out raise that $9,000, then the business owners would send in their pledges.
Oh, that's good.
So it worked out really good, and the first year we did the Hillsboro Challenge was in 2016, and we raised that year $18,314.
Wow, good for you.
And then last year in 2017 we made it to 25.
Wow.
25,319.
So, is there a Catholic church in Hillsboro or no?
There is, yeah.
Because I didn't know if you went in with Hopkins and Henniker to go like a church there, because I know they built a brand new one out there in Henniker. They took in Hopkins and Henniker, and I didn't know if Hillsboro was in that group or not.
Yeah,
but
the St. Mary's Church is still on Church Street.
Okay,
and they still operate. Yeah.
Okay.
It's I think it's the same father that goes between the two.
That's what I thought. Yeah. Okay. Good.
But yeah, it's been a really great fundraiser. But you know, even with all those figures I just told you, you'd be surprised how fast the money gets spent.
Oh, I bet. I can well imagine. I can well imagine.
Definitely gets spent, and I just wanted to come here today and talk with you because I really am hoping that maybe if I can get the message out that we can, you know, have more organizations this year. I want to try and extend that, because last year, I don't know if you've ever heard of it. There's a great little Mexican food restaurant in Hillsboro called Taco Biondo.
No.
Great couple. It's a couple that owns it, and they are very supportive of a lot of things in the Hillsboro area. They support the school. They've done things like that. But last year, when I went to them and asked them for a pledge, I was just asking for a pledge. They said, "You know what?" Says, we'll do something a little different. How about everybody who comes in here, who donates a can, gets their name put into a a drawing, and then at the end of April they drew a name and they gave them a free meal.
Oh, goodness.
And they also matched every can that came in, which I think it was about 250 cans that year that they got in those 2 months. They cut a check themselves for $250.
Wow, that's nice.
So them and Obashan's Hardware, they did a weekend where they let us set up outside their store and collect donations. So I'm hoping to get more of the businesses involved that way this year.
Yeah, that's good.
And
well, we're coming to a close of Faith Speaks, and I'm so happy, Gene, you came on and got here in time. And I will talk to you after this for a few minutes, but if you have any questions about that, please give Gene a call. And Gene, you have a phone number they can reach you at?
I do. You can call me at my home number. It's area code 603-464-4007.
Okay, and if you can help out, by all means, please give him a help out there at the Hillsboro District for the food pantry, and just give a few more people some more food to eat. So with that in mind, thank you to Ian Marx, my director, and I hope that you all have a great day, great week. Stay safe, stay healthy from the flu, and we'll have you join you again here on Faith Speaks, WICX 102.7 Hope FM Catholic Radio. And I'm Dick Patten.